All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
We about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I'm Daniel Gonzalez. Listen, before we start off here, as always, all of the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
And while you're listening, we've got you on. We really appreciate your support. And if you could, like, subscribe, and maybe share this thing once in a while, it's very cool.
Very cool. It helps us grow the podcast, guys. We really enjoy making this. And the more that you guys share the podcast, the more that you get your friends to like, subscribe, listen, comment, all that stuff. All those help our analytics and help us grow the podcast so we can keep bringing it to you. I want to take a minute here and talk about our sponsor, Power Solar. It's POWUR. I feel like a broken record sometimes when I talk about it, but I only talk from experience. We have had an excellent experience with Power Solar. My wife and I decided to go solar after we bought the Tesla, and our power bill, shot up obviously because of that. We got in touch with Isela, who's a friend of the show. She took, I'm telling you guys, it's a full 360-degree look at your house, your needs, your power needs, all that stuff. They figure out exactly how many panels you need and what you might need in the future. If you might be growing your family, you might have added needs in the future, and take all that into account. The entire process has been awesome. The workers that came to install the thing were clean. They were quick. They did not leave a mess. They didn't bother us in the house at all. Isela has been a dream as far as like keeping us updated as to what's going on, where we're at in the process. We have our final inspection. Everything's installed now. We're just waiting to flip the switch. We can't do that till there's an inspection.
Awesome.
We're waiting for our final inspection on Monday. And once that's done, boom, we're solar customers.
And our listeners were all part of this journey.
Yeah, man.
From the first commercial.
I'm excited for you as I was for me. Yeah, man, and we're doing something great for the environment and lowering our energy bills at the same time. I want to give you just Isela's information here. It's Power Solar, and you can reach Isela. We can reach Isela at 310-435-0231. It's Isela Bonata. You can also go to her website, www.solarenergyqueen.com, or you can email her at solarqueen.isela, that's ISELA, @gmail.com. Give her a holler if you're at all thinking about going solar. Even if you don't think you have the money to do it, or you have all your trepidations, all that stuff, give her a holler, because that's what she does, man. She works with you and she figures out the best way to get you this solar to fit into your budget. And in the end, it's going to be good financially for your family too.
Yeah, and it's an easy way to go.
Yeah, cool. So we have a crazy episode today. The story that you're about to hear is a story that it's actually an incident that happened just before I got hired on the job. So when I came through the drill tower, it was like the fresh incident, you know what I mean? That had just happened. It was, let me introduce Enrique. First of all, our guest today is, Captain,
Enrique
Graciano, who was a fireman, obviously, at the time that this incident happened. He's a captain now down in South Central Los Angeles at Fire Station 64, one of the busiest, most well-respected fire stations in the city. And even yesterday, I mean, we were talking about coming down here in the morning. We both worked last night. I was up all night, running calls in Venice on the rescue, but Enrique was at a major emergency structure fire down in the Wilmington area. Arson fire. This guy lit off a bunch of containers, which in and of itself fucking sucks. But right now, with all the shit that's going on at the harbor, with all the freight being stuck down there, the backup, it's like fucking up industries all over the place.
Didn't they just announce they're going to they're open the port like 24/7?
24/7, yeah, man. Those longshoremen, man, are going to get paid, dude.
Money.
Jesus Christ.
So if we look like we have a little red in our eyes and our eyes are a little droopy, it's because we were both up all night. And I'll post some photos that he sent me. Those are great photos, by the way, that he sent. But you know, when I first got hired in 2003, it's December 2003, and this incident happened in 2003, right?
Yeah, September 19, 2003.
So it fresh. I mean, we're talking months before
like
it had just happened. It was your incident, and I think Rio Beck had just fallen through the roof not too long before that.
That's right.
Shout out to Rio Beck Hernandez. And so, you know, when you're a new fireman, you have all this like just like bright-eyed wonder about this job, dude, and it's almost like a fairy tale come true, because you've typically not so much these days, because people are just like, oh fuck, I think I'll try to get on the fire department and fill out an application now. But in 2003, man, the people that were getting hired, they were like working for years to get on the fire department.
Yeah, it's really competitive.
So when you get into a classroom setting at the drill tower, you're pumped up, man. You're like, fuck yeah, I am ready to go. Dude, I fight fire. I've been riding along. I was an explorer. I stood outside these fucking fires and saw them. I could take this heat, you know what I mean, from across the street. And you think you are this badass, and you're ready, and you've probably taken a private academy, and you know all your paramedic shit, and you're fucking prepared for this shit, right? And then you walk in the classroom, and hanging on the wall is a charred black SCBA bottle with all the instrumentation fucking half melted on it, and it's just fucking caked on and black. And you're like, holy shit. You know, then you start learning a little bit more fire behavior and stuff like that, and then we get into a story like Enrique's.
Yeah.
And it's the shit that really makes you settle back down into your seat, and all of that like happiness and wonder about the job just kind of slowly drains down into your ass cheeks, and you're listening to this story and you realize, holy shit, man, that could fucking happen to me.
Reality sets in.
Reality sets in really fucking quick when you hear a story like this. And so even before getting into like the nuts and bolts of the story, before even meeting you, dude, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Your story and you as a firefighter had an impact on me as a firefighter, along with, the other 40 some odd guys in my class, guys and gals in my class, and probably countless other classes before ours and after ours. They still tell the story, obviously. You know what I mean? Even younger guys that come on right now and you say, or yesterday I was talking to guys, I got Enrique Graciano's coming on. Oh, what happened to him? The Vallarta Market fire. Oh shit, that's right. And it's like all these guys, even 20 years almost later, have heard about this story, and really it's a cautionary tale. But
a lot of lessons learned.
But at the same time, that's what I was going to say too. At the same time, there are things that went right in this entire situation, and little things that, and we'll get into it, that you're taught one way, and then you get to the fire station and go, yeah, dude, you learned that way, but this is how we fucking do it out here. Right. This is what's going to save your life. And sometimes those little things and those little gems that you get, a lot of times really, that you get from the firefighters that have been there, done that, are really what save your life, and what you click back to in a moment where panic sets in, and almost logical thinking kind of goes out the window. You know what I mean?
We've talked about that a lot, your toolkit.
So let's dig right into it, man, because I know it's a long story and there's a lot to talk about here, and there are little branches that we can branch off with and touch on. Take me back to that time. You said it was September
19, 2003, about 11 o'clock at night or so.
How much time did you have on the job at that time?
Probably about 3 years.
3 years,
give or take.
So you'd been around a little bit. You'd been through
pretty young, but like you said, I was a young explorer scout for many years, and ex-LAPD officer, what have you. And so I had some street credit, I thought, know. Yeah. But unbeknownst to me, that night.
Where were you assigned?
Station 88. I was assigned to Truck 88 that night as a tiller man, tiller personnel.
How long had you been there at this point?
I've been there about 2 years.
So you're in the flow of things, the operations, all that stuff.
88's is like a unique place too. You can talk about that
squirrel
for a
cage.
second. Yeah,
that's a squirrel cage.
Yeah, talk about 88's just real quick.
Well, that place is really, there's a lot of stuff going on. USAR station, so then we have USAR. We have also the heavy equipment in the back for the big brush fire deployments. It's just a division house, a lot of training. We have the shops in the back. It's just it's a very complicated station. You're always on the move. A lot of training and specialized task force. So just at that point, I mean, I've been to a couple of major incidents where, small airplane crashes, what have you, the Metrolink train, pretty big events. So yeah, definitely got some good experience there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those spots, man, where it's just like there's always something going on there.
Yeah.
There's always
Huge
something going on.
place. Yeah.
Somebody visiting that you got to be on your P's and Q's for. A disaster somewhere else in the country. So the entire California Task Force 1 is coming to meet
FEMA
here and
team.
collect the FEMA team. You know what I mean? They've got the underground tunnels and shit in the back for all the USAR stuff for the confined space. When we say squirrel cage, man, 88 is
A lot of moving parts.
bustling place with a lot of parts.
Even for regular people in the city, it's like a landmark fire station kind of. It's right there off the 405 and the 101. There's a miniature golf course next to it. Like
That's
everybody's driven past that station and noticed it before.
So 88s, you're there. You're comfortable as a firefighter at this point.
Very young firefighter, still trying to learn just a lot of the basics, to be honest.
But you've been to a handful of fires at this point.
A handful of fires, nothing significant, obviously, as this one.
Yeah. So take us to the day. I mean, just a normal day. So at 88.
Yeah. So being the youngest member at that time there,
low man.
Yeah, the off probation, but still the rookie, right? A lot of members with a lot of time there because you got the heavy equipment operators, you got a lot of seniority, a lot of experienced members who've done it, been there, gone through the busy stations in the city, and now they got specialized. USAR and the heavy equipment. Anyhow, so I'm always like the first one there and the last one to go to sleep, right? So it's kind of late at night. Guys are going to bed, listening to the radio. The structure goes out. We have division there in quarters. They get dispatched into the structure. So of course I get a handy talkie, start listening to the TAC frequency and start listening. I hear the address, and right off the bat, I know the location, Whitley and Victory. It's the Vallarta market. That's where you go sometimes shop for our groceries for our station. Being there many times, I know the place.
Sure.
I got a mental size of my own. And I listen to the TAC for a quick couple of minutes, and then I just kind of hear a little bit of the, the volume, the
excitability,
excitement of the rate of tactical frequency. And so they asked for, I think, 2 more task forces, so I knew we were going to go. So I just got ready.
Now, initially, and I know obviously you weren't there, but listening to the radio, and from my understanding of the fire, initially it was kind of a nothing deal.
Outside fire in the back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the back part of the building, like alleyway. There's a storage area. Got in there and they went into the office site at the back. It's still part of the building, but not at the actual market.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's where it originated from.
And so that's how, especially on a big buildings like this, a lot of times that'll happen, man. You'll get dispatched like an engine company will get dispatched by themselves to a rubbish fire.
That's what happened with us yesterday.
Yeah.
Major emergency.
Oh, really? we had like the other day we had an RV, came across as an auto fire. We get there, it's a full size RV right next to the Whole Foods market there.
There you go.
So you can see how an incident where it's might be something small that started, maybe it was rubbish in a trash can, but there's a pile of pallets next to it. Oh, the pallets got going. Now it's up against this, cinder block wall, but there's little cracks and shit in the cinder block where it can get into the soffits and shit like that and just slowly start cooking in there. So you can have incidents like that where it's like a little nothing at first, and then you start going in looking for extension, and you realize, oh shit, we got smoke coming out of these vents. Oh shit, we got to open this wall. Oh shit, we got fire in this wall. And it slowly escalates like that. You can also have incidents where you go and people that aren't, captains that aren't as thorough go and squirt water on the rubbish fire out there, and there's residual smoke, and they're like, it's residual smoke, no big deal, it's a cinder block wall, and then fucking leave. And an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you're coming back to a fully involved structure, So so little things like that, little outside rubbish fires can turn into what this eventually became, which was a major emergency.
Especially now with the homelessness everywhere. Most of the big fires have been the outside fires.
Especially now too with, and anytime it starts getting cold out there, they talk about the homeless warming fires. They start lighting fires in trash cans, lighting warming fires, and then pass out or something like that. Or they start, lighting other things to go help other people light fires. And that's how shit takes off.
That Bel Air brush fire was a cooking fire, right?
Oh, dude, damn near all the fires.
Eagle Rock fire. Yeah. You're getting the last 5 years of brush fires.
That's a whole nother thing, dude. Like the Venice Pier fucking burned a few years
that's
ago,
right.
because there was a bum underneath there, jerry rigging wiring and shit,
Houseless.
getting into the electricity under there. But the city doesn't want us talking about that. Wow. We're not supposed to say all these things that the unhoused people are causing in our areas, because they don't want to do the things that need to be done to take care of that issue. But
just save them, man.
That's a whole separate podcast. So you're listening to the incident, you hear it start to grow, and then they attach.
I'm getting excited.
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
like, hey man, I'm young. I need this. I want this. And, I started, like I said, getting my own little mental size up, and I hear the two task forces. I start running to the rig and start really suiting up myself. And sure enough, the tone comes out, and they attach Life Force 88 and a bunch of other companies. And so I'm tillering, so I get up there, and the guys start climbing into the rig. And as we're leaving, I'm giving them all the information I already have, right, by listening to attack and telling what they have going. And so, yeah, we're en route, and as we get closer, we see the smoke, listening to the channel about the fire being in the rear, separate from the market. I kind of know where that's at. And so once we arrive, they start asking for companies inside. Truck 88 or Life Force 88 was assigned interior division. Back then, our operational ways were a little bit different. As a matter of fact, that incident changes the way we carry our 2.5-inch hose on our rigs now, just because of things that happened that night. But so they made our Light Force interior division, knowing the size up of the building. I knew there was some high ceilings, so I got off the rig and got the proper tools and equipment. I got some long pike poles and met my members at the front door.
Now, talk about real quick.
Yeah.
Talk about the tiller position, like at a structure fire like that. It's almost like a football team or a baseball team. You know what I mean? Like you when you show up, everybody has their position to play. And then when you show up, it's like, oh shit, we got first and second with nobody out. This is the play we're fucking running. You know what I mean? And you got to cover this and turn that double play or whatever. It's almost like that with these positions. You show up to an incident, realize what the fuck is going on, get your assignment, and then go to work based on whatever your assignment is and your position.
Yeah, we practice for this. We drill for this. Like you said, everyone's got their job, their duties, responsibilities. Sometimes you have to improvise and just change it up sometimes. But we do have our designated responsibilities.
And typically, for those that don't know out there, typically the tillerman is the more experienced firefighter on the Life Force that day.
And to be honest with you, I was the least experienced.
Yeah.
But it's just young and thirsty. I wanted to learn the position, so the more senior members allowed me to, and that's proper also.
Yeah, and that's one of the
experience,
right?
And that's one of the just kind of cool, funky things about this. It's like, yeah, man, you become great because you get the experience,
you get challenged,
but you got to get the experience somehow first. So having an AO, like Jody Garfield, who understands that and realizes how important it is to put you in that seat, in that position, especially when there's a boomer like this going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's awesome because you can't have guys. Obviously, everybody's got their own personalities and their own way of doing their jobs, their own way of approaching their position on the fire department too. And you do have guys that are like, no, I want Timmy on. It's me and Timmy. We've been to a million fires together. He knows what I like. You know what I mean? Right. There are guys like that, and that won't give you that. And I got one guy in particular that I'm thinking of, but that does happen too. So to be in a position with an AO like that gave you that opportunity is fucking awesome. And a captain too.
Yeah.
So you get there, the assignment you get again, I'm sorry?
So we get assigned the interior division.
Okay.
Life Force 88, they had engine 7 inside doing fire attack, and companies in the back. I believe it was engine 39, engine 90 in the rear. And then Life Force 39 went to the roof. Their communications were really good on the roof, from what I was hearing. So they painted the picture pretty well.
And that's important, especially at a big fire like this, where you have a lot of real estate on the roof, and you're covering a lot of like square footage inside. It's really important for the team on the roof to talk to the interior team to kind of play off each other. And hey, man, we're in this area. It's really light smoke, But then you got the roof team. Hey, we're right here in this BC corner. We just cut, and we're getting square smoke, heavy. pressurized smoke with some flickers of flame in here, and you're like, fuck, we're not seeing that in here. Maybe there's a wall blocking where we're at, and you go and try to search it. So it's a big communication thing that you have with the roof team and the interior team to try to find the seat of the fire, because eventually that's how you can put the fire out, put water on the seat of the fire.
Yeah, everybody's eyes. But we're talking about interior truck operations now with you. So what are you doing?
So the engine company that was there before us, they're reporting they need some additional manpower to assist with some truck work, pull some sealing, just advance the hose line to the where they see the fire. Also, radio communications. They had stated they had the fire was towards the rear. We enter, we go in there. One thing I want to say is that place was still open for business at the time. So there were still people, as we arrived, there were still customers. We're trying to get them out of there. It wasn't as bad inside as it was on the roof, right?
Yeah.
Like you said earlier. So I remember having people, hey, get out. Let's get out. Let's
Still
go.
While it's going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's go. We
Truck on the roof and people are checking out.
Oh, yeah. You know,
corn
we
on
went
the
by
cob.
the last, six pack or whatever they're getting.
Mommy told me to get those frijoles, man.
Wow.
When they got there was an outside fire. And it's a market, it's a business, it's running. It's not until it starts, growing and getting more into the incident that they realize, oh shit, we actually have fire in the structure.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, so we get off the rig, right? We get in the front door, everybody's got their tools, and we go inside, and we have our full PPEs on, but we're not masked yet. There's not enough smoke to be masked. Like I said, there were still customers inside. There's a little haze, and as we start getting inside a little bit more and more, we meet with Engine 7 to see how we can assist them, and sure enough, start putting some sealing. They run out of hose. The way they came in, and I would have to draw it some other time for you guys, but they came in through the what we call now the Bravo side breezeway. They ran out of hose. Once they got in, they couldn't reach. So my captain asked me, "Hey, go grab another hand line." So I stopped what I was doing, assisting with truck work, and I went out through the Delta side, the main entrance.
Real quick before we move on, just for those that don't know, when we're talking about a structure fire, when we're communicating on scene via the radio, typically the address side of the building or the structure, like the entrance, whatever the main entrance side is, going to be the alpha side of the building. Then you go clockwise. The next side next to that would be the Bravo side, Charlie side, Delta side. So you match all four sides. And then if you're communicating, like if the roof team was like, hey, we're over here in the Charlie Delta corner of the roof. We got a big hole cut. We got fire coming through. Now okay, shit, it's the back and right walls back in that corner somewhere is where the fire is.
You're not worried about east, west, north, south. All that matters is the front.
Yeah. So when you hear Enrique talking about, Delta side, Bravo side, and stuff like that, that's what he's
and back then, you got to remember, we didn't really use that language a whole lot.
Yeah.
We were more like north, west, or east, south corner. And you go to some of these places in the city, you don't know if it's north or south.
Turn around,
So,
or you're working sod somewhere and you're fucking sleepy. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Who the hell knows which way? The sun's not out, bro.
Exactly.
The sun's right above me. Where the fuck is north?
So anyhow, so we're in there. I'm really aggressive. I got, like I said, a 3-year mark. I'm like, full of vinegar and
piss and
let's
vinegar,
go,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
So I sure enough, I took off. I went out to the main entrance, and I saw engine 100 and engine what I thought was engine 90, and that comes in really important later during the incident when I'm calling for help. Again, when you're young, you want to be so quick and so fast, and you want to prove yourself that sometimes it's actually unhealthy, right?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
So as you get older and mature in life and just in everything, right? We kind of slow down a little bit and take the big picture. So that night, obviously, I was just go time, right?
Just tunnel vision.
I go out, grab the hose line from one of the rigs, grabbed it, went to the front, told the engineer, I need this line, whatever. Get to the front. I look back, I pause right before I go into the building as they teach us, look back, make sure you know what rig your line's coming from. And so I look back real quick and I see what I saw 90, engine 90, but it ended up being engine 290 and engine 90 was in the rear. In my mind, I'm locking myself, okay, this line is coming off of engine 90. If I get in trouble, I know how to identify myself with the hose line. I go inside, bring the hose line, I get on the radio and I say, engine 90, go ahead and load the 1.5 inch line. Line gets loaded. So in my mind, okay, this is engine 90's hose line.
Oh man.
Meet with my crew, start extending going towards the rear of the building, the Charlie side where the majority of the fire is. With my crew, Light Force 88, Engine 7, and then right behind us, Engine 100 came in with their hose line. So now we have 3 hose lines in the market. Man. It's not a huge market. It's not your typical Vons or big market. It's a Mexican small market, right?
Sure.
Medium size. And you got 3 hose lines going in through there, and I'm super aggressive trying to go where the fire's at. I can see the glow. I can see the glow, the smoke's banking down a little bit more. Our captain inside calls for additional companies to assist us. It starts to get a little bit warm. Radio communications, I'm listening to the radio. Again, I'm a fairly new member. We're 3 years on. But I think what helped me that night also with radio communications was my LAPD experience as a police officer. The radio frequency in the LAPD is bizarre.
It's crazy
compared to ours.
I don't even understand how they understand each other sometimes.
Yeah, usually you're a young member. You're not talking on the radio. You're not doing any of that. You just kind of maybe listen to it sometimes.
How long were you with LAPD before?
Just a short time, under 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in there. I'm listening to the radio myself, right? I'm listening to what the roof is saying. Hey, we got 2 4x8 hose, heavy fire showing, whatever, heavy smoke. The ventilators, heavy smoke on the backside. And so I'm painting the picture of myself, what's going on inside. I'm following the orders. I'm following directions from my senior members and my captain. I'm the point person furthest into the building, going towards the Delta side, or correction, the Charlie side, the backside. And all of a sudden, I'm not kidding you, man, within, I want to say, just a couple of minutes, conditions just changed rapidly. The smoke, the visibility started banking down.
Now, did something in the end? Did you find out that something happened? Was there a collapse of some of the ceiling, or
a lot of things happened? But what happened is the members in the back were fighting the fire. We pretty much had opposing hose lines, if you think about it, right? So they were on the second floor, was like the mezzanine office area of the market. And then if you look at these old markets, you walk in, you see like a little catwalk, or they had these little windows sometimes on the side. Yeah. Well, that's a big void area there, right? So the fire had already spread through there, and we're deep inside. So it's literally, the fire's kind of wrapped itself behind us, unbeknownst to us.
Sure. Right? So, and that's what it'll do, man. It'll find little areas where it can wiggle in. And if there's something to burn in there, it'll get into those soffits and run the whole length of them. Yep. Or facades, in the front. You go in the front door. If a building has a facade and you got a fire going in the attic, that fire can get into the facade and start burning. Now you take a hose line in, that fucking thing burns and collapses on your line, burns through your line. Now you're stuck inside, trapped with no fucking water. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of funky shit which is the main reason why when we have a structure fire, we tear all the drywall off and we take it down to the studs. As we're going through, usually you get inside the door of if you're like a regular, single family dwelling or something like that, and you got a fire in the attic, you got a fire, maybe in the back of the house somewhere, but it's clear in the front. You always take a step off to the side and pull a little bit of ceiling to make sure that there's not fire above you before you advance in, Yeah. You could have a fire in the back bedroom that got into the attic and it's rolling above your head and you don't even know it, dude. Yeah. So that's what pretty much what had happened. The fire got in that soffit,
wrapped around us.
Wrapped around.
And then also at a home, you'll have your regular ceiling, right? Businesses, you'll have the drop ceiling, which is about, depends what kind of business it is or what have you, how new or old it is. But you have that void space there, right? So if you're not pulling down those drop ceiling, that smoke is being kind of trapped in there and you're not really able to see what's going on. So I remember having the thought of like, come on, let's get some of this drop ceiling down. And I just took the initiative. I put a straight stream. I just started dropping ceilings with my hose. But then the smoke just was starting to bank down that you can't even see the drop ceiling anymore. And you could just kind of go by feel and, kind of leaning on my experienced members, Yeah. But I just kept going forward. Met Engine 7 next to me. They extended their hose line with some high-rise hose packs, I believe, or some extension, and then Engine 100 to my right. So we have 3 companies flowing water. The roof is saying they have heavy fire, and all of a sudden conditions just start changing. The IC asked our interior division, how are we looking? And you can hear on the radio if you ever get a chance to listen to the incident.
we'll probably
deteriorating.
plug it in, play it now.
It's really deteriorating. Interior division calls for more companies. And then there's a point where, like you said earlier, what the roof is saying and when we're doing inside, it's not matching. And we're pretty much about maybe 20 minutes into the incident. So we're not making any headway. It's time to reconsider our tactics.
Sure.
So you're not seeing the fire that they're describing.
I'm feeling the heat, the smoke, but I'm not visually seeing the active fire that they're seeing.
And typically, you don't want to squirt smoke.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're disturbing the smoke. You know what I mean? You can disturb the thermal layers. You can, like we said, have opposing hose lines, squirt somewhere where you're not supposed to or whatever, and hurt somebody potentially. But the main thing is you're not gonna put the fucking fire out if you're squirting smoke.
Exactly.
You could pencil, you know what I mean, if it's getting too hot and stuff like that, because sometimes that smoke will get going and it'll get so hot that it'll light off, and that's how you get flash over and shit like that. But so you can put in a straight stream and pencil, just get some water in there to get some steam going, just to cool it down a little bit. But you're not gonna put the fire out. Shooting smoke, you got to find the seat of the fire. So as a firefighter, being that deep, feeling the heat, it's starting to get hotter. You don't want it. You're taught, don't squirt smoke.
Well, also because if you squirt the smoke, you interrupt that whole thermal layer and everything. Now all that smoke comes down. Now you really can't see anything.
Right.
So you kind of almost want to let it free burn a little bit to get to where that fire is at.
Yeah.
And then once you see that glow and the red, okay, that's where it's at. That's where we're gonna hit it hard.
Yeah. For those that are listening that don't know, man, when you go into a fire, man, when a fire is just like cooking on its own, or you think of like a fire in your chimney or whatever, it doesn't get smoky obviously because there's a plume that goes up and out the roof, right? But if you were to cover that or close your plume, that smoke would slowly, it would drift up to the ceiling, and then it would collect up there, and then it would slowly start to bank down. You get these. It's almost like upside down water or lake. You get these perfectly formed lines of smoke, man, that just sit and slowly bank down. So if you get into somewhere where there's a fire's been cooking a little bit and shit like that, and you're not familiar with the building and stuff like that, that's why you always, hear people say get low and stuff like that. Even before you go into the fire, a lot of times, like down south, you see it a lot with these house fires. You fucking cut the security door off, get that thing open, kick the front door in, and then get down low and take a peek and look and see, shit, there's a hallway over there. I can see the kitchen right there. Because once you go in and you start walking through the smoke a little bit, or you open up a fog stream or something like that in there,
that's it.
It swirls that smoke around, and now you went from being able to see clear as day on the underneath. If you get down low, you can't see shit. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
And this is why sometimes, like even on the news or videos, they show fires and stuff. You see, why are these firefighters not squirting water yet, right? So it's discipline. It's a lot of practice, training, discipline, because like you said, you don't want to go in there and just squirt right away, and now we can't see where we're going. So a lot of times we're kind of gathering our tactics. We're communicating, hey, it's going to be the room to the left, 2 doors, stay low, hug the left wall. So we're working it already. So if we were to open that nozzle as we go in, our whole operation would be
right.
One other aspect too to consider for, obviously we have a lot of young firefighters and stuff from all over the place that listen, is, depending on how big the fire was and how much smoke and stuff like that, you can actually cause more damage with the amount of water you use than the actual fire itself, especially in, like, if you are an apartment building or something like that. You go in there and start fully open and you're squirting everything, but the fire's around the corner. You're not fucking hitting shit. No. Now you've completely soaked the ground. It soaks through the ceiling. It's soaking through now you got to salvage down below, which probably would do anyways, but you might ruin their grandmother's painting that was hanging on. You know what I mean? There's a lot that can happen so being judicious with your water, all of these things, getting a layout for the building, pre-fire planning, you'd been in it before, listening to the radio to hear what the conditions are, listening to the guys up top, having discipline on the nozzle to not, disrupt the thermal layer so you can keep your visibility. All those things are going on in your head at the same time that you're going, oh, fuck, it's getting hot in here. Oh, shit, I can't see shit now. Fuck, where the fuck is the fire? How the fuck am I going to put it out if I can't see the fire? Okay, fucking be disciplined. Don't fuck. And all of that is going on top of the fact that you already laid a line. You already fucking ran in. You already ran all the way in, ran all the way out, grabbed another line, ran all the way in. Now you're pulling a loaded line. You're working.
You're breathing hard.
You're breathing hard. Now you're at a point where you're like, oh, fuck, I'm on air now. Now I got to keep track of how much air. all of this is going on at the same time. Pretty much at every structure fire you're at when you're on the nozzle. You know what I mean? It's a full, you're using all your faculties basically.
Oh, yeah.
That is very competitive. You don't want that other company behind you beat you in all this, right? So we're so competitive. We just want to be the ones to be first and put it out. And so
bragging rights,
it's a lot of discipline. It's like you don't want to take too long, but then again, you don't want the guys behind you beat you. So it's
I mean, you'll be there,
hard.
dude, at a door with a rotary saw. You know, and there's 4 or 5 guys
hungry.
waiting to get in with and they're like, come on, man, come on. You're like, shit, it's not going. Shit, that was supposed to work, you know?
That's stress right there.
It's crazy, man. It's a crazy thing to experience that it's very difficult to describe or get people to understand fully what it's like to be a firefighter in an active working major emergency structure fire. Because how do you describe all those things that are going on in your head and your emotions and your physicality and shit like that? You know, it's difficult.
He was doing good with it. There were a bunch of things you were trying to keep track of. And then, this is like one of your first big structures. You're 3 years in. It's a bunch of senior guys with you. You know what I mean? It's like showtime.
Yeah, it's showtime. And like, I wanted to prove myself too, like I said earlier, right? And so I wasn't being a cowboy like on my own, but I was still trying to, let me keep going forward. And like I said, once that smoke condition changed and the outside the IC and the roof was saying, hey, it's not looking too good from outside. How's it looking inside? I actually, my own personal little experience that I had, I felt uncomfortable. I really did. But I was like, okay, these guys know better than me, right? These guys have a lot of experience. So I'm leaning on their decision making, and that's what ended up happening, you know. And there was a point where our captain, the guy who was in charge inside interior division, he said, yeah, you know what, we're gonna pull out. You know, the IC gave us the order, and we pulled out. So, but again, my lack of experience, being on the same page, right? So when the trigger happened, as far as like, okay, we go offensive to defensive. If you look in the history of a lot of fatalities and members who've gotten injured really bad in fire service, that's that point where a lot of things happen and people have passed away or gotten critically injured because we're in this mode of like, go, 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 and then hold on, stop, reverse. And a lot of guys don't click, that doesn't click in your head, right? Like you still have to keep going. Right. And so for me, I heard, okay, we're going to back out. We're getting out. My initial way, the way I was taught in the drill tower, you're backing out with your hose line. You never want to leave your hose line or your tools. You want to come out. And plus, it's a commercial building. I know we had fire above us and behind us. We had engine 7 and engine 100, and I could hear them saying, hey, we have fire above and behind us. Yeah. And so as we went offensive to defensive, I'm the member at the furthest point in, and the company started backing out. My mentality at that point was, my crew behind me and myself were going to back out flowing water because we had fire above us, and that's what I did. And as that started happening, the noise of all the members, the SCBAs, the noise you hear at a fire started getting quieter and quieter, and the fire started getting louder and louder, and then my nozzle started getting heavier. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? And so what ended up happening is my understanding was different from theirs. We're backing out. Okay, well, because of their experience, I mean,
get the fuck out. Yeah.
Thank you. And me, I was like, okay, I would come up with my nozzle.
I'm literally backing out.
Yeah. And sure enough, that's what happened. I don't blame them. It was that feeling of like, preservation of your own life to get out, and
it was that bad. Huh?
Oh yeah. It got really bad. Once it got to that trigger point, I feel like we should have actually gotten out a little earlier. Yeah. But I didn't have an experience.
But you touched on it. That's typically what happens. Something fucking happens where they go, oh shit, it's time to get out. A portion of the roof collapses. Oh shit, get off the roof. It's very hard to predict those types of things. Oh shit, conditions change dramatically on the inside. How are you supposed to predict that as a
like
chief standing outside or something?
He's 3 years on. He doesn't want to be the guy to sound the alarm.
And that's exactly it.
Slow down, kid.
It's a very, very macho profession, man. Especially back then. You didn't bitch about shit. You didn't fucking raise your hand and go, hey, I don't think we should do that. I mean, that shit just didn't happen, man. You yes sir'd, especially when you had that much time on the job. Oh yeah. You yes sir, and you do whatever the fuck. I mean,
Oh yeah,
we could sit here all day. We'll do another episode about all the shit that I thought was hairy at the time and did it just because they fucking told me.
Yeah, you keep your mouth quiet and you just listen and do what you gotta do. And
typically, man, the guys know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? You get a good guy that's been around the block. You know, you like okay. I think it sounds like just a miscommunication at that point that just diverged you both and you wound up in this position.
Right. And so, like I said, lessons learned, and I'll talk about this later, but because of just even that beginning point of this how this whole incident goes south is the misunderstanding of what I meant what meant to me and what my crew was doing. Right. Sure. And this is why we train, especially in the LAFD, man, we train a lot, man. And it's good because, I'm living proof that, training, saved my life, because of the members that were working that night. And so it's good, but anyhow, so we're backing out, and then the nozzle gets heavy and we're not standing up anymore. I'm like in the duck position, kind of,
sure.
Down low, and still pulling my hose line back. And for a moment, I shut the water off, and I take a pause, and I'm like, okay, I'm by myself now, right? And it was zero visibility. Actually, it was about a foot of clearance from the floor to where I can see. Yeah. So I took a tactical pause real quick right there, and I kind of put my face to the ground, and I looked both sides, looking around, and I couldn't see anything but hose lines. And I saw somebody's reflective tape from their turnout boots from about maybe 40 feet away or so. Mm-hmm. So then I continued, I grabbed the hose line. I started following the hose line out, as they teach us in the drill tower. If you're in trouble, follow the hose line out. This is going to lead you out to the outside. Mm-hmm. And then you got to remember, there's 3 hose lines like spaghetti, and you're in a world of hurt. And you're embarrassed to call for help. I knew I needed help already. Yeah. But because of the machismo mentality, I was not going to be the guy who was going to call for help.
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and I did. I tried. I made an attempt, and I actually got more confused and disoriented doing that. So then came a point where I activated my own personal alarm. That personal alarm takes about 2-3 seconds to activate, and it felt like it was about 5 minutes, man.
So that alarm is something that's attached to our SCBA. That basically is there for if you become injured or something like that, or entrapped and you're motionless, after a certain amount of time, it will alarm on its own. So sometimes throughout and you talked about the sounds of a structure fire. A lot of times that's one of the sounds that's going off, because you'll be working, you'll pause or something like that, and this thing will start going off. You don't even fucking realize that it's going off.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
15 seconds or something.
Yeah. Right? So you'll hear like, and it'll like warning beep. So like sometimes you'll be standing there waiting for the AO to finish his cut or something like that, and you hear beep, beep, and you give it a little jiggle and go on with your work. But sometimes you'll be fucking working, you'll pause because you're, and that 15 seconds will pass. You're just trying to catch your breath, and it goes off. But it's like, it might as well be across the street, another fucking world that noise is coming from. But it's there so that if you get trapped or something like that, and somebody has to come and get you or whatever, and you're knocked out, they at least have something to find you. You can also activate it yourself by pushing and holding the button, and then it'll activate. It's one of the things they teach you if you do have to put out back then it was emergency traffic. It's changed to Mayday now, which is kind of the universal way of calling for help. But it's part of the procedures. There's specific procedures that everybody has their own personal things that they do, but you drill on those procedures, and we'll get into that in a minute. So you're backing out. You see the reflection on the guy's boots. You start trying to get over to him.
Right, and it's a market. Remember, it's kind of tight spaces. The aisleways. I'm like by the cash register area now. Yeah. And then within seconds, that visibility, that 12 inches that I could see, I literally had my head against the ground with my flashlight, my nozzle, listening to the radio. I could hear them cutting. I mean, you could hear the saws. And then that smoke just banked down to the floor. And then when it banked down to the floor, it was just zero visibility. And then that's when I told myself, okay, I need help. I'm gonna get on the radio and call for help. And let me tell you, it took a lot, man. Like I was challenged. Man, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna be that one guy who's gonna screw up this whole incident, you know? Yeah. And screw it. I knew I needed help. So I kind of, the initial help call was not a really help call. It was more like, if you hear the audio sometime, I try to reach out to my truck company. I said, hey, truck 88 from Tillerman, I was trying to get their attention before actually calling for help.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, being a young member, I'm not going to be on the radio much. And so I never got an acknowledgement from them. And I don't blame them. There was a lot going on, a lot of radio traffic. And so then after that, I got on the radio again. And I think I said, well, I know I said, IC from Firefighter Graciano, or from Truck 88 Tillerman, I'm inside, I need help.
And if we pause right here, I'll find the audio for it. It's on that tape.
Yeah.
I'll find the audio. We'll plug it in here so you guys can hear it.
Pedal device on my breather apparatus, and just those 2-3 seconds that it takes to activate it, it felt like a long time. I then got on the TAC channel and screamed for or called for help.
I need help! Someone into the helpline! Help from 1890!
I kept the nozzle with me. I would stop, spray water. Again.
So anyhow, at that point, I'm lost inside. I still have the nozzle. I'm calling on the radio for help. I could hear the intensity of the fire. You can't see anything. You can feel the heat. I follow the hose line from my nozzle back to where it's supposed to lead me out. And I follow about maybe a good 20 plus feet. And it messed with my head because I created a loop, right? Away from the fire. So now I'm going back towards the fire.
Yeah.
So my training's telling me follow the hose line out, but my mind, my brain, my body's like, you're gonna burn to death if you go that way.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was a really weird, awful feeling. So I paused again and I kept the nozzle, sprayed. I was feeling around me. I found another hand line. I tried to follow it a little bit, found the coupling. It was like spaghetti again with the other hose lines. I got frustrated. I got on the radio again, and I called for help, I think for the second or third time. And finally, I think the IC heard, and he asked who it was. I identified myself. I said, I'm Firefighter Graciano from Tillerman 88. I have the nozzle from engine 90, 1.5-inch hose line. And so this goes back to the very beginning.
Sure, yeah.
Young, aggressive firefighters want to be fast. That was me that night. If I would have taken a little extra second before I went into the building, looked at the hand line where it was coming from, I would identify that the hose line was coming from engine 290. Sure. So now I'm confusing the IC that night, telling them I have the nozzle from engine 90. Engine 90 is in the rear of the building. So
totally different spot. Yeah.
And I'm spinning inside. Sense, I'm spinning,
Sure.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? We do drills like this, environments where, controlled environments with smoke and what have you. But you want to do the best, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get hurt.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
That night, that moment, it was like, this is real.
Yeah.
My life is on the line right now. And I'm trying, every sense of me was magnified. My hearing, I couldn't see anything. My
straight
feeling,
survival in moment,
and just my voice, and feel and experience, little experience that I had.
Sure.
I knew the building. I knew the refrigerators were against the main entrance of the wall from the beginning of the door to the end of the store, pretty much. So my thought was find those refrigerators. If I find those refrigerators, they're gonna lead me out to the front of the store.
Why pre-fire planning is so important to do in the district.
Oh yeah. And so I was looking for those refrigerators. I couldn't see anything, and I was just moving around. The intensity of the fire, hotter and hotter. I'm listening to the radio. The IC, it's called the RIC team.
Yeah.
Rapid Intervention Crew.
Right. So
Company.
He knows I need help. He starts getting somebody ready to deploy to get me inside. And at that point, we didn't have what we have now, the way we do things. But I remember specifically hearing, Life Force 39, I forget what crew it was, on the roof, and some other company. You're going to be my RIC company. When I heard that, my hope really went down. Because I know how long it's going to be from the roof to come down and then get inside. There's no way. Yeah. I'm hurting right now. I need assistance quick. Anyhow, so that scary, happened. Man. And a lot of things just came. I was scared. I was panicked. This is real. I didn't think I was going to make it out at that point.
Man, and you're on your bottle still, right?
And my bottle, I tried to hit our emergency trigger on our radio. The gloves are spongy, wet. It's kind of sunken into my pouch.
Shit.
And the anxiety, the stress, the reality of this is real. I made an attempt. It didn't work. So I just was on a TAC channel calling for help. And there was a point where I was so scared, to be honest with you. And the reality of knowing that you're not gonna make it out.
Oh, yeah,
like
man.
you come almost accepting like this is how I'm gonna, my life is gonna end. And so I literally hugged the nozzle. I was like in the fetal position, and I remember hearing the radio traffic, and I just took a moment for myself, and I literally closed my eyes, and almost like a prayer, right? And my life just flashed, my whole entire.
It's all right, man. Take your time.
My life flashed, and I had these memories and still photographs of my life that I didn't even know, right? Or I knew, but I didn't remember till that night. And it was like still photographs from like my early birthdays from like 5-6 years old, Easter Sundays, family birthdays.
Man, you remember all that?
It was just like a really quick, just I can't even explain it. It's just like a fast flash of just a lot of parts from like early childhood till then.
Yeah, man.
9/11, towers coming down. Captain Dupuy, previous fire captain that passed away.
Right, yeah.
He was that I saw still photographs of them pulling him out, and this is so fast, so quick. And then all of a sudden, just this large amount of just peace came into me, and honestly, I just didn't know anything what happened after that. And suddenly, my angel, Jody Garfield, I love you, brother. I didn't know it was him, but somebody patted me in the back and literally woke me up from that trance, from that moment. And I guess I was so ramped up that I started fighting him off.
Yeah.
He tried to rescue, hey, let's go. And kind of follow him a little bit. I saw fire everywhere, above us, behind us, in front of us. And this man, I owe him big time. So I kind of fought him a little while, and I was not listening to his orders or his reasoning.
Sure,
you know, I was spinning, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
And
Understandable.
he never let go of me. He kept his hand on my harness, on my shoulder, and then a little bit way out, another member met us, and he got my other side of my shoulder, and my arms were just like spaghetti, man. I was spent. I couldn't even crawl out of there. And I remember just kind of looking to the ceiling to the right and just fire everywhere. Now the captain kind of gets to us at that point, and I start to see what appeared to be the door. So our engineers and other members put these spotlights at the entrance of the doors. I saw that light, and I tell you what, man, I saw that light, and that second burst of energy just came up. And all of a sudden, let's go, let's get out of here. You know?
Yeah.
And
I'll bet.
Yeah, we made it out the door. Got to the door, and I just remember feeling that feeling of thank God, you know, I'm outside. We're all outside. They sat me in the gurney with the rescue ambulance at the front door, and I remember this really old timer captain sits me down, turns me around with the gurney, points toward the direction of the building that's burning, and he goes, "Look what you just come out of, kid." And I look, and the whole entire building was literally on fire. Within 1 minute after we got out. It just, the whole place was on fire. Yeah. And everything just started sinking in at that point again, you know. A lot of good things happened. A lot of bad things, you know, happened also. The rig team was trying to get in through the Bravo side. The rolling steel door, there's a fusible link melted. They were trying to get in through there. They could hear my alarm going off. Yeah. Luckily, they were not able to make access. Because as I was coming out with my crew, they would have been chasing us in the building, and they would have flashed on them. So thank God that didn't happen.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was it. Made it out the building, and just
so
things.
It was your AO that got you?
Jody Garfield. Yeah, Jody Garfield.
How did he find
you? Well, so just that's a great question, man, because that's one of the reasons why it's like the debate that we have over how do you call for help.
Yeah.
Because we do have an emergency channel that, you know, you have an emergency trigger on your radio. You hit that button, and what that does is, first of all, the BC that's in charge of the entire fire, he's got one radio set to channel 6 emergency, and it's turned all the fucking way up. So when you hit that button, it automatically sends you to 6. You put out a help call on that, you know, firefighter down, firefighter missing, firefighter trapped. There's specific things that you say, and now it's Mayday. So you get on there, Mayday, 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 firefighter trapped. This is Firefighter Graciano, and you go down your list of things that you say. I'm in the BC corner of the building. I'm off an 1.5 inch line off of engine 290. You know, if everything went perfectly, I need help. I'm trapped. I'm turning on my pass, and you turn it on. You wait to hear an answer back and turn on your pass, and then you do all the things that if you're running out of air, try to preserve your air. We used to have these emergency canisters you can plug in, shit like that. So all these little tricks to do. Get as low as you can. If you completely run out of air, you can pull your thing out, stuff your hood in there to filter and just get down. All kinds of shit you can do. Shit we practice all the fucking time, right? So one of the debates is, do you put that help call out on the emergency trigger, which does all those things. Not only that, but it also, there's a captain at OCD at Metro that sits, oh shit, emergency trigger, he sits down on a computer and he's dedicated to you on that channel. We're getting you help, buddy. We're getting, and then they're communicating with the IC and all that stuff. Do you do that and get that ball rolling right now? Or do you put it out on the TAC channel so that the guys that you were just with that just left you can go, oh fuck, Enrique, where's he? He's still in there. They know exactly where you're at, exactly how to get there. They just fucking came out. And those are your buddies. Those are the guys that, if more than anything, if not that I wouldn't put my ass out for anybody on any fucking station at any fire if they were fucking in trouble. Right. But if it's my buddy that I live with, as much as I live with my family, I'm going to put my ass on the line.
Plus, you've trained together. You just know how you guys work together, too. Yeah. You know, you kind of know certain expectations about each other.
Jody was AO at 58s with my dad for a while.
I thought I remember that.
Just a solid guy, solid firefighter.
So let me just say this. You know, things happen for a reason. You know, I'm a strong believer of that. So I met Jody when he was a rookie, and I was a young fire explorer. He was a rookie at Station 2, second house, and we really clicked back then. You know, this 7 years before my incident or so, whatever the time it was, and so we had this good connection of friendship already. And he happened to be working overtime that night. He was in my AO, but So when I called for help on the TAC channel, he's heads up from the entire crew. He's the one who kind of knows where everything's going on. And as guys start coming out before I did, start evacuating the building, he's by the door, he's counting heads, he's counting, okay, this guy, that guy. And before I could even call for help, he knew I was still inside. Yeah. So he told one of the members, hey, Graciano's still inside. As guys are coming out, you'll see certain fires where firefighters come out and, we come out like, okay, this is done, no worries. And some fires, you come out, you just want to take your stuff off because it's like a close call, right? Yeah. That night, the claustrophobia. That night, guys were coming out, pulling their gear off, just, I made it out alive, right? And so Jody had the discipline to leave his entire gear still on. And so when he heard that I did not come out, and then when he heard the actual radio, he knew I was in trouble. So he told another member, hey, swoop back up, and we're going to go in there and find him. And he knew what hand line I was in. So when he went in by himself, he tells me after, hey, Enrique, he goes, usually buildings push out smoke, right? This particular incident that night, it was sucking in all the smoke, all the air, right?
Scary.
Oh, so that's an indication for like a backdraft, a flash over. Yeah. So he's going in there and he's thinking to himself, man, what am I getting myself into? Yeah. Luckily for me, I had the alarm going on. He's following the hose line going to the backside of the building, but he hears the alarm on his left side. So he's, his experience and, his just the person he is. Yeah. He follows where that sound's coming from. And sure enough, he finds me right there in that corner of the building, which is like the Bravo Alpha side. And that's how he found me. And then he just followed the hose line back out with the other guys.
And man, you had almost made it out then.
Sort of. Yeah. Just because I got turned around and
Yeah. We got to wrap it up here. I just want to say, touch on one thing, telling that story. When I was going through the drill tower, remember we had this, it was like a search and rescue drill or something like that. And the morning of that drill, my dad, I'm sure he was in communication with the captains and shit that were there, because he knew we were having this drill that day, right? And he goes, listen, man, if in your drill today, when it's time to pull out of there, grab that hose line that you're on, turn toward the engine, and pull all the slack that you can out of the hose line, and that'll give you a straight line to the engine, right? And it's just a little trick that obviously a firefighter that's been on a little while, you probably heard that from someone else, and it actually is a great thing to think about if you can have clear enough thoughts to think about it. Almost for exactly what happened to you. You start following a hose line, and they teach you that to get out of the fire. You follow the hose line, and the way the couplings are, you can tell which way goes to the nozzle, which way goes back to the engine. You follow, but the problem is you got 5 or 6 or some of these major emergencies. You got spaghetti of hose, man. So you'll get to an area where it's just literally just a knot of hose, and just like you said, wet gloves in the dark, trying to make sure that, and then if you accidentally, oh fuck, which one is it? You know what I mean? If you take that hose line, just for you young guys who are out there as a little trick, or if you're going through the drill tower, because I did it that day at the drill tower, they shut our bottle off, so your mask is sucking. You had to, and then it's time to get out. So I did that, and all the captains were like, "Oh shit, look at you! Know what the fuck you're doing, right?" Well, it's only because my dad told me about it in the morning of. Right. But it's just another thing to keep in mind if you're trying to self-rescue out of some place, so that you don't run into a problem like that. Try to pull all the slack out of it, and you get the most straight line that you can get. Shoot, man, we're running out of time here. I wish we had a little bit more time just to settle in, but we got, I mean, what an amazing story, dude. Yeah. Like I said before even meeting you or knowing you, you had an effect on me as a firefighter, a young firefighter early in my career, just hearing that story. And then I worked with my first house. I worked with Rio Beck at 26s. And so got to really deeply have some really good conversations about him and his situation. He obviously got burned real bad, falling through a roof. And so having those stories so close to me. I mean, obviously it happened just before I got hired, and having that whole talk at the drill tower and then working with Rio Beck, it really, really, really gave me a sense of before the other incidents that I've had and people that I know that have died on the job, before any of that, fresh on the job, it really gave me a sense of how dangerous this could be, how much I need to concentrate on my training and concentrate on learning the little tricks of the trade and stuff like that to protect myself and my family. Man, thank you so much for coming on, dude, and talking about this. I know a lot of times it's difficult to talk about things like this, and it has been a while.
Yeah, it's been 18 years. I tell you what, sometimes, it gets me still.
Yeah, man. And, definitely. I can see it.
Of
course. Do you have anything you want to promote? Do you have an Instagram or a fucking Facebook or anything you want to?
For me, more just the word I still put out is just, hey, man, we all need to go home tomorrow after work, right? So I always talk about safety. This incident happened to me early in my career. I try to share with as many people as I can. I work different stations throughout the city or drill towers. I go and I give presentation. I'm not there to teach anybody anything particularly, but give them my side of what happened, and hopefully it saves other people's lives, man.
Yeah,
cool, man.
Appreciate you doing it here.
Thank you so much for coming on. You guys you can follow me at DannyGonzo34 on Instagram and Twitter.
Follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 Humor, like benign humor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at PRC Podcast on TikTok, or email us, contact prcpod@gmail.com. Thank you guys very much.
We'll see you.
Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it, and with a little bit of soul, no times.